And welcome to Tuesday night. It's the Tile Happy Hour. It is the best time of the week, especially if you love the tile and stone industry, because John and I are here to talk to you about all the things dealing with tile and stone. We have an exciting couple of weeks coming up, very busy in the tile world. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. But before anything, we're going to bring on my good friend, John Tedesco. Can I call you a Yankee?
No, I'm a Mets fan.
Okay, so it doesn't ring well. So, John, hey, how are you? Springtime is back again in Raleigh. Hopefully, it's back again, or it finally made its way up north.
You know what, Craig? Wow, I just lost my audio. Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine. Can you hear me?
This is crazy. All right, yep. Craig, take the show over. I need a minute here.
Okay, John has messed up his audio, so we're just going to watch him fumble with that because we enjoy the pressure. But if you've never been on the Tile Happy Hour before, my name is Craig. I was a commercial contractor for 20 plus years. John Tedesco, who can't hear anything, he has been showroom owner, also sales, all the stuff on the other side blended together. We have made the Tile Happy Hour, and we have brought together just a show to where we can talk about anything you want in the tile and stone industry. If you want to learn how to install something, ask the question. If you want to know if you should grout your gray tile with pink grout, you can ask that question too, and we're going to give you an answer. Now, it's going to be our opinion, but it's still an answer nonetheless. John, do you have your audio back?
Yeah, I do.
I thought you did. But if you're watching, hopefully you're watching live. I can see on my screen, if you could see the back of it, I've got screens everywhere. I've got Instagram up. I've got stuff coming in on the streaming software. I've got another screen over here. So if you have questions, I want to see them live so we can talk about them and you can be a part of this show. Because, John, we do this show not for our own fun, even though we do have fun, but it's really to benefit the community.
Yeah, absolutely. We love the tile industry and the whole kitchen and bath and commercial hospitality industry throughout the entire country and the world. And we're glad to be part of this community. And we do this show. This show kind of started with Craig and I being colleagues, him being in North Carolina, me being in New York, but, working for the same company. We just started, we'd find ourselves collaborating on the phone with some business stuff. And then we just go off on talking on miscellaneous tile stuff. And we're like, wow, we should like broadcast this because we just talk tile. So right. We had that in common. We decided to put the show together. And this is show number. I'm saying that as if I have a good guess. I'm going to say
he 54. Doesn't know. 55. Show number 55. Which right. We a couple of milestones. Our inaugural show was last year on National Tile Day, which is, I believe, February 23rd. This year we celebrated that 1 year anniversary, and next Tuesday, not at this time, but we'll explain that in just a second. But you're watching on a streaming platform. So you may be watching from Facebook. You may be watching on my YouTube channel, John's YouTube channel. I see I got friends here watching on Instagram and LinkedIn and X. I've never seen anybody watch on X. So if you're there, please say something because it may be not worth their time. But yeah, what's that?
We love to know where you guys are watching from. So we may not put it up on the screen, but at least let us know where you're watching from. If you have a question or comment or just want to say hello. So this is John Tedesco, colleague, cohort, and co-host with Craig Cahoon at the Tile Happy Hour. This is our 55th show, you said?
55th show. And if you're watching, and you may not be watching live, John.
This is true. So we find it's impossible to pick a time that's good for everybody. We started the show Fridays at, I think, 4 or 5. And we had a good audience there. And then we said, then the summer came around. We're like, do we really want to be, tied to our, podcast for a Friday evening? Everyone's out. So we decided to switch it to a Tuesday night, and it went off really well. So we're keeping it on Tuesday nights. Once in a while, we put out a encore presentation when Craig and I have just way too much going on. And next week, I'm excited because last year we were in Orlando at the Orange County Convention Center. This year we are at the World Congress in Atlanta, Georgia. Great place, great city, and we're broadcasting from that show. Now, we were live last year, like physically live, but we weren't able to broadcast live because there wasn't a signal that we can get out. This year, we're stepping it up, and we're about 92.3% sure we're going to be able to get this feed out live next Tuesday, and we're going to talk about that in a moment. So I'm excited. What about you, Craig?
Yeah, coverings is, I mean, let's just say it's the Super Bowl of the tile and stone industry. This is when we see those colleagues that maybe we don't work with anymore in the same company, but they're at another company, or vendors we haven't seen in a long time. So it's like a big family reunion. And we were honored last year when they asked us to be a part of the podcasting team. And we were even more surprised this year that we didn't embarrass ourselves enough, and they asked us to come back. And John, you're right. I got some of the show information today, and it said we will have a live internet line. So next week, now hear me correctly, next week it's going to be a live broadcast at 12 noon. So the live broadcast will be at 12 noon. I'm going to try to flip that around and rebroadcast it again at 8 p.m. where we are right now. But bearing all things, that is ambitious, but I feel like I can do it. But all things going well, if you're at work, take your lunchtime, get your sandwich, sit by the computer, and watch us live at 12 noon next Tuesday, live from Hotlanta coverings. And it's going to be exciting. If you're at the show, John, what do we want you to do?
Well, we want you to, around 11:45 in the morning on Tuesday, the second day of the show, figure out where the heck you are in the show, because it probably take you 10 minutes to figure out where you are, what direction you're going to go. I think we're in Hall B. Honestly, I don't recall where we're at, and it's probably kind of out in the lobby area, not on the show floor.
I think
to keep the noise down. So really, we'd love to have you in our audience. Say hello, ask questions, learn, of course, because we have a really good topic, really good guests. So we'd love for you to join us. We're calling the podcast, it's a 1-hour podcast, Content to Clicks, Digital Marketing Today. So, and the concept is we have a professional marketer from Laticrete, and she is responsible for the marketing of a global company, big company, great company. And we have on the other side of the spectrum, down and dirty tile contractor getting his hands dirty, tile installer, who happens to also be a social media influencer by way of his skills and his communication skills, and he's a great guy as well. Craig will talk more about them in a moment. So we're putting them two together because in this new world of digital marketing, there's no such thing as marketing happening just around the boardroom and everyone says, okay, we're going to buy this ad, we're going to buy that ad. We're getting influencers are a thing of now and a thing of the future. Yeah. And it's pretty cool. I think it's going to be fun.
It's going to be, it's a neat subject. And I've said this once, I'll say it again. I've always thought our industry was kind of old school. You think of tile and stone, and it dates back centuries, millennia. There's stone and stuff that goes on before we can count. And so I feel like sometimes we drag along in technology. Well, we're trying to bring that to the forefront because that is where the world is going. I was listening to a podcast today. There's 2.8 billion people that daily watch YouTube. That's nuts.
Tell us about YouTube as a search engine.
Yeah, well, YouTube, it is a partner with Google, but Google is the number one search engine for the internet. So that's why when people say go Google it, it's not because it's the only one. Nobody says
go Yahoo it.
Go Yahoo it, or I can't even think. Go Firefox it. That doesn't happen. But true. Google is the second most popular search term, and that's because
you meant to say YouTube is the second.
Yeah, YouTube is the second most popular search engine. And that's because, like me, I'm an audio visual learner. if I have a question, I want to see it. So people go to YouTube. And so as an industry, we need to figure out what's the best way to use these platforms to get our word out, to get our education out, to get our products out, and to learn how to install kitchen and baths correctly.
It's true. And when it comes to social media, Craig and I are, some people say we're experts at it. And we're just like, we're not far from experts. We just throwing it up against the wall and see what sticks, figuring it out. A lot of issues, like 2 seconds in, my ear connection pops out. I mean, all that stuff. And we're playing around with the social media. We're playing around with different formats. Also services on how to stream. We're using something tonight called StreamYard, which is we found to be great, but we vetted other things that we've rejected, and maybe those were better. We don't know, but we're comfortable with this. We're learning, and all we're doing is whatever we do now, we'd like to share with you, and hopefully we can help you bring your brand to the future, into the forefront rather, and also just hopefully your content is positive and productive and educational and informative and maybe fun or funny. And we want to be a part of helping you put it out there. And to that note, we have a special guest tonight, Craig. Did you know that?
I did know that, but I do not know our guest. Once again, you've found someone up north to talk to, and I don't know them.
We know you don't have many people you interact with down in hillbilly land.
My friend the other day, he said, "How do you live in the big city of Raleigh?" Well, coming from somebody in the eastern North Carolina, I'm like, I don't really know, because I'm a hermit. I mean, I work from home. I go to the gym and maybe to the restaurant once a week, but that's it. So I don't get out much. So John, thank you for bringing guests in. So tell us about our guest tonight.
So, well, you remember last week was a solar event. Well, tonight we have another solar event, and it's with the dynamic Alison Solar. Alison with 1 L. Welcome, Alison. Are you there?
Hello.
Hey, how are you? Hi, John. How are you? Thanks for having me. Yes, Alison with 1 L.
Well, that's right. Sorry about that. I did a whole asset package yesterday and had 2 L's in it. So,
well, let me take some credit for that, Greg. Yeah, well, you know what, Alison? Craig sent it to me for the thumbs up, and I'm like, yeah, it looks great. And then as soon as he posted it, I saw it. It's like not before.
I'll forgive you. I'm okay. It's all right.
Thank you. I appreciate it. One of the things that, and John will tell you, is my strong suit is not spelling. So, that's why I always send it by him, and I blame him. So it is his fault.
Blame him. It's his fault.
Well,
it's okay, because it didn't fly. I sent back. So it's good. It's all good. It's all good, guys. It's over. It's
all
past.
good.
It's done.
Well, Alison, I don't know anything about you. So give me your elevator pitch. Tell me how you relate to the tile and stone industry.
Because I don't know you either, Craig. All right.
I know. I'm trying to tell you who I am.
I think Alison should interview Craig, I think.
I am a kitchen and bath design specialist. I've been a kitchen and bath designer since a long time, 30 something years. And I know John almost as long as that, probably just a little bit. So I've been in the business of kitchen and bath design. I went to school for interior design. Fell in love with kitchen and bath design, went out on my own, had my own showroom. I worked with Home Depot. I worked with private, big high-end builders. And I've been at Expo Design Center. And then I had my dream that I was going to have my own business, because I got better and better at what I did. And if I didn't want to die with any regrets. And my sister had recently passed away. And I was like, well, you know what? Life is short. No regrets. I would regret it if I didn't open my own showroom. But unfortunately, I opened it, and then we had the recession. And I was a little too new, and it didn't work out for me. It just was like too much.
Alison, if I may add, your showroom was beautiful. Her showroom was literally a couple of doors away from my Williston Park showroom.
So you're telling me you're from Long Island also?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I thought I heard. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. The guy on the train said it's not Long Island; it's Long Island.
Long Island.
Long
Yeah,
Island.
if you wanna spell
I
it
don't
out
even go with
phonetically,
the G. It's to me, it's Long Island. Long Island.
There's even
Is there a
not even
G in there? Long Island.
well, if you want to spell it phonetically, it's lawn, like lawnmower, lawn,
Long
and then
Island.
Guyland, Guylan, Long
Okay.
Guyland.
Long Island.
That's what the
That's
guy was that's what the guy on the train was saying.
But I'm
So
from the city, so I'm from New York City.
New York.
New York.
Okay. Well, I'm
Well,
from North Carolina, if you can't tell. And kitchen and bath design. John jokes on me because we don't have bathrooms here. We have outhouses.
yeah, outhouses,
Do
exactly.
you design
Oh,
those?
you still have those outhouses, huh?
So in 2008, I'm assuming that's the recession you're speaking of.
Yeah, it was just, every project
It
that
was
you
rough.
thought you were going to get, that you were on the edge because it meant staying and surviving or dying, and you didn't get them. So just 2009, the lease came up for renew. It was a no-brainer. So it was hard for a lot of people, and it was very, very traumatic. Like I said, we had a recession, and then I had depression.
Yeah. Well, you're right.
Now, what do you do? Right? I was like shattered. So, but life goes on, and you have a little bump in the road. You get over it.
That's right.
So I had clients and got work here and there. I just didn't have the showroom, so you kind of do business differently. But I have a lot of contacts. Like I said, I know John a long time. I know people in the business a long time. You don't know me, Craig, but a lot of people know me.
I got
Craig.
you. Okay.
Craig, let me just get this straight. She's kind of a big deal.
She's kind of a big. Okay.
I got a big Facebook group. My group is like 6,000 people. I get people. I've spent years. Well, I'm not an overnight sensation.
Yeah.
What's
people
been
know
fun?
People.
Yes, that's right. So what's been fun is Alice and I, we trust each other, so we bounce things off of each other. So I remember when she was starting this, and she was bouncing logos off me. What do you think of this? Right? She had 5 people on her Facebook group, and it
remember
exploded.
that? We were testing out live. We were playing around with the lives. Remember?
Yeah.
Going on
that time we would
live show. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Well, you were a guest on the John to Disco Happy Hour when I had my 1 hour live show.
You were a guest on Wednesday. Remember?
That's right. I was on her show too.
You were. You were.
Where was I?
Live, just live. It was on Facebook.
I was just alive.
It was once a week. I haven't done it. You know what it is? I love talking about education. So anyway, what I did was after I had that whole depression thing, got back on the, pick your pants up and move on. Yeah. I started working, whatever. And I thought, teaching, I would like to teach. So I got a job teaching part-time at the New York Institute of Technology, but it was an elective. So not everybody had to take kitchen and bath design. Yeah. And I wasn't going to teach at night. I want to teach during the day. Once you have your own business, you kind of, can't go work for other people very nicely.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. Well, that's funny that my path is nothing like your path, but I found fulfillment in teaching also. I had 20 years of knowledge of installations, and now I wasn't on my knees daily, but I was constantly specifying, constantly helping architects pick materials and figuring out how to do it. And when I got hired at Tile Bar, now I get to teach that to our team, and I love it. I don't know that I'm any good at it. My wife, because she's a teacher, and then when I say I'm a teacher, she kicks me. But
a teacher in the classroom with a bunch of students, like 20 students, and having to give tests and all, it's a little different, but we can teach in our own way.
That's right. And I love the educational
in his own way.
Yeah.
Craig puts out, Tile Bar has a breadth of products, right? Stuff that's porous, not porous, stuff that could freeze, stuff that doesn't freeze, stuff that's slippery, it's not slippery. So one of the things he's famous for in our company is his technical bulletins. Somebody will ask a question about a particular tile that has like a lot of texture. How do you grout this? I have a customer that has a problem grouting it. So he'll get one or more questions on the same topic. It's like, you know what, I think I need to dig into this instead of just giving the textbook answer. And he'll order boxes of stuff sent to his little studio, pull out the gloves and
My
do
garage.
videos, his garage, and literally do tests, and then come back with a bulletin number, 17 on whatever grouting textured tile, and it's specific to a tile bar product, but at the same time, it's relevant to the industry. So we've been sharing it with the world, and that's his. Tell her what your slogan is.
Which, well, the slogan I've been saying for years is my a friend of mine that I was working for at one point in time, I was calling and saying, listen, I need some tile work. Give me some tile work. Aren't you building a hospital? He says, I'm building a water treatment plant. I was like, I'll tile it. Just tell me. He's like, there's no tile in it. And I was like, man, we got to tile the world. And so ever since then, I've been saying, let's tile the world. Let's tile the world, tile the world. So I love, so now that you're a teacher and you still have clients, I'm assuming.
I did it, but I got to tell you, when I want to do something, it's kind of like, you know what, I think I'm going to do that. Now, when I opened up my showroom, I felt, you know what, if you could do it, if that guy down there can do it, I could do it. I'll figure out who to ask. Who do I ask? Where do I go? What do I need to know? And I took this course, I took that course, and I went to this and that, and I did it. And you know what? It was a tough time because there was no internet. So learning was, we didn't have the ability to do that. And then when I decided I wanted to go teach, it was kind of like, I don't know. I helped a designer friend of mine. She wanted to become a dealer. And I'm like, you want to go be a dealer? Come with me, Ellen. Come with me. And I said, well, you got to do this. You got to do this. You got to do this. And I felt good about that. So somebody said they were a teacher at the New York Institute of Technology. I was like, oh, I would like to do that. So I threw my name in the ring. I've never taught a class before. So they called me up on a Thursday and she's like, Alison, can you start teaching a class on Monday? And I'm like, sure. I had no clue. My mother was a teacher. So I called my mother, 80-something years old. I was like, Ma, what do? I have to be a teacher. She goes, you need a syllabus. A syllabus? What's a syllabus? So I Googled it and I downloaded and I researched it. And then I put up a thing and I said, how would I teach the class? And I said, well, I like to teach like in phases, phase 1, phase 2, because you have to think about how are you going to teach 10 weeks, 3 hours a day, a session, right? What do you do? So I had put all of this stuff together, some field trips, and I had all these PowerPoints put together. And I really I fell in love with that too.
Yeah.
And
I think
I love it.
As a society, I don't know why we got away from people who are professionals in industries aren't the teachers of the next professionals in industries. I mean, I know up north, as a tile setter, you get an apprentice and you have a program and they work together. And that's a sort of a teaching. But you're a kitchen and design specialist. You're the perfect person to be in there telling students on what to expect in designing kitchens and bath. And not saying someone that just got out of a college degree in design shouldn't go into teaching. Maybe they should, maybe they shouldn't. But I think you're way more qualified.
Well, you know what's interesting, Craig? What Alison's doing, and Alison, correct me if I'm wrong, for the most part, she's working with designers that are some new, but some that have been in business for a long time. And being a designer is one thing. You think about space planning, you think about fabrics and color, but it's not normal. That's not the right word. It's not common where a designer is versed at kitchen design, let's say kitchen and bath design, because there's a lot of technical detail.
It's a completely different language. It's a completely different room. It has to be treated much more technically. It's not about aesthetics. That comes in after the technical end of it. And I think why I fell in love with it, kitchen and bath, is because it is so technical. So the artistic in me, I love to draw and paint, and I'm like this. I'm very abstract and free form, but when it comes to the technical, I love it. I love doing those architectural drawings, figuring out all like you with the tile and whatever. So I enjoy that technical end of it, and I approach kitchen design as a much more technical aspect than it is aesthetic, because the aesthetic, like the wood you pick, the colors you choose, and all that stuff is together as a combination, and you need that for an eye for design. But you need to know what is the difference between cherry wood and alder wood.
Mm-hmm.
They could both look very similar, stained. They're not stained cherry. The wood is cherry.
Right.
They're stained fireside, or magenta, or pick a color name, whatever you want to call it. But the wood, when you stain alder dark like that, it takes the stain very well. So you can have two woods. You have to have a trained eye to be able to see, well, really what's the difference between alder and cherry. And actually, if you have training, you'll know. All you have to do is put one in one hand and one in the other and see which one is heavier.
Yeah. And I would assume, knowing the technical part of that, you would know that, and I have no idea what I'm saying, that a cherry wood is better for a certain application and alder wood is better for another application.
Absolutely. It's all in those little tiny details. And like, I teach one of my courses that I teach, because now I developed what I've done. What we're getting to the bottom line here is I am the founder of the Kitchen and Bath Design Academy. Da, da, da.
I love it.
Yeah. So
you need
next
to
time
teach me how to
trying
do
to get
the tile learning academy. That's what I need.
I have the tile section. And that's the one that John actually, remember John, when I was teaching my webinar seminar, and I had it for a day, and I had some designers there, and John helped present the tile part. And we went over the tile. Yeah.
Well, if you ever want a technical tile person, you call me. I'll teach. I won't charge you.
Call Craig. Hey, Craig, can we add to our production budget, like the sound effects, like when someone says something?
Yeah.
Like clapping.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah, I can. They make those.
We got to work on that.
We need to get a Patreon page or something.
I've been working on this for years, John. Right, and the reason the reason I'm doing it, and my passion, is because there's no place else to learn this. I Googled it. I Googled, where can I learn kitchen design? Like, not for a homeowner, but for a designer. I want to learn, right? Other than the National Kitchen and Bath Association, or being part of a university, part of a curriculum, 2-year curriculum.
Right.
There was really nowhere to learn it. So I was like, well, I'll do it.
So what you're telling me is it's not for the normal homeowner, but it's for a design professional.
It's meant for designers, interior designers, and kitchen and bath designers that need education to because a lot of interior designers go into the house, like what John was saying. They get into the house. Now, if a designer goes into your house to do your living room and your sofa and your bedroom and pick out wallpaper, like I couldn't even tell you where to go for wallpaper, okay? I don't even know anything about wallpaper. So you would call your designer friend. So the designer friend gets into the house. She's doing all the wallpaper and everything. There's no designer that's going to turn around if the homeowner goes to them, can you help me with my kitchen? You do kitchens, right? So the designer is going to go, of course I could do kitchens. Of course. Why can't I do a kitchen? Because number one, they're going to believe they can really do it until they start to get into the nitty gritty and realize it could be overwhelming, but they're not going to give away business. Yeah. I'm not going to give away a job. I'm not going to let another designer get in here. They're not going to do that. So they're going to take on a project, and now we're talking about inset, full overlay, standard overlay, beaded inset, cherry, maple, crown, what's your clearances? Can you open your refrigerator? Did you check your appliance spec? Yeah. Completely different language.
So those what you just said are the pitfalls that somebody that doesn't know what they're doing are going to run into those and either take a swag at it and make a mistake, or find the answer on the end. They're designing via Google.
And it's very common as a designer to make a mistake, because there's too much work, the refrigerator. Okay. Not all refrigerator heights are the same.
Yeah.
And if the customer goes and buys a refrigerator that now is 74 inches high and you've designed it 72, but the client signed off that they have bought a different refrigerator or whatever, then it's their fault because they changed the refrigerator.
Yeah.
But if you didn't look at the size of the refrigerator and double check the specs on that and do your math calculations, because you need a calculator, that's what a designer needs: a calculator, a T-square, a triangle, and a scale, and a piece of paper. That's what you need. And you got to figure it out mathematically. You'll be ripping out the top cabinet because your whole kitchen's all done. They put the cabinet in, they put the side panels in, they got the crown molding in, and the guy came to wheel in that refrigerator and went to go stick it in the space. And you can't get it in there because the cabinet should have been 2 inches shorter or an inch.
That's
shorter,
when you buy a new refrigerator.
And then you get the phone call. So now that cabinet, which is only one cabinet, and it's a big cabinet over a refrigerator, that cabinet's probably going to cost you $1,000 or more just to get the cabinet, because you can't just keep any part of it. That cabinet's now garbage. You're going to have to order all new crown because the crown doesn't just come right off, right? So you've turned 1 2-inch mistake into potentially $2,000 to $2,500.
Yeah.
So because now they got to get the contractor in to take it out. They got to also special ship that one cabinet, because you can't, otherwise you're going to wait for the next truck to come your way. And you could wait, 4 weeks instead of like, I need it in a week. You got to pay for, Joe's trucking to come and pick it up. So it's complicated. But
so when I take your class, when I take your the Kitchen and Bath Academy, I'm pointed out those things to look at and see those pitfalls. And when you're done with me, then I'm going to be a better kitchen and bath designer because I know those things.
What I did was I took all the steps, everything you need to know, the foundation of the kitchen design, like the basics of what's quartz, what's marble, what's quartzite, what's porcelain, what's ceramic, what's built-in refrigerator, what's freestanding, what's undermount, what's top mount, what's a farm sink, what's a 4-inch spread, what's an 8-inch spread, all the foundation of the basics, the whole thing to build on, from the cabinets to the guidelines to, okay, now you got a project. What do? You get the designers go, what do I do now? But I got the project. I said I'm going to get it. Now what do I do? Who do I ask? What do I do? What do I measure? What do I do? This is what you measure. This is what you do. This is what you take a picture of. Here's your questions you ask. All the way from there to going back to the office. Now, what do you do when you get to the office? What do I put in the base cabinets? Do I put in the appliances? What do? I teach you that. And we go the whole step all the way to final documents, the final documents that you're going to sign, and you're going to get the check for $100,000, $50,000, whatever it is, because cabinets are always paid in full. Right. Everything is special order. So cabinets, if you're a smart business person, get paid in full 100% before they get to that person's house. So you got to have them sign. Yeah. Right. You can't just go, hi, here's your kitchen, and you got one piece of paper. Right. You got to document the whole project.
So you're really helping a designer either expand their business into something they weren't able to do before, or, maybe they have the relationship with a homeowner and then they have to bring in like a kitchen professional and they're kind of in the middle, but it's quickly obvious that they don't know what they're talking about, that designer. So they're at the mercy of the kitchen designer and they're trying to act as the kitchen designer.
You're at the mercy of everybody else. You're for the plumbing store, for the tile store, for the countertop, for the faucets, for the contractor. You're at everybody's mercy. You're nothing but a sitting duck.
Right.
Right?
Malcolm in the middle.
And that's not where you want to be in a kitchen project.
Well, it's not where you want to be if you're in business trying to make money, because the pitfalls, like you said, you mentioned that one, like Craig had said, get a new refrigerator. But what if you made it too small and you can't make it bigger?
Then it looks weird. Yeah. I at one point in time, I worked for a high-end countertop
Cheers.
fabricator. And
cheers, guys. I'm sorry. I want to cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
I heard you say something about a cocktail, so I went and got my wine.
All right,
That's
Craig.
good.
What are you drinking, Craig?
You know me. I've got my Leroy Yeti with sweet tea.
Okay, I just got some Tennessee whiskey. That's it.
Nice.
But she taught me a lot about the custom design world. I came from a commercial contractor, which is totally different from anything that you do, Allison. But when I went and worked for this fabricator, she was so professional, but so awesome and persistent. When you signed that paper, it had to include 50% deposit every time. And I was like, why do you do that? Because the commercial world, it's all financed. You don't worry about that. You have 30 days, you send a bill. She's like, man, I'm running it on my own. This is it. I'm not buying the slabs until I get a 50% deposit because that's my thing. So that's something as a contractor or a designer, if they're financing this or whatever they're doing or how that works, you got to watch. And those are things like you found out, unfortunately, can run you out of business.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Not that's why you ran out of business, but
no. But it's hard. That managing your money is very, very difficult as a small business. So, you have to be on top of everything, and it's they're foolish not to reach out to the internet and try and get people to help them. And there's so many more resources nowadays for businesses to get help. Like Absolutely. What I do is I have the Kitchen and Bath Design Academy, which there are CEU certified courses that are going to be on demand. I teach them live. I just did one today for the Interior Design Society, which was really fantastic. We had 26 people showed up, which was great. Wow. But what was I saying?
So that was the Long Island chapter for Interior Design Society. Chapter. Yeah. And that was what showroom was it? You had it at a showroom, didn't you?
Sub-Zero Wolf, the beautiful showroom in Roslyn. Yeah, that was really nice.
Amazing.
Yeah. So I mentor. I work one-on-one with designers, and they could, like one designer, they do a few kitchens, but they want to get better. And, one-on-one, I work with them, and they're well-known designers, but kitchen and bath is a whole nother thing. So I'm kind of like their private teacher, a tutor.
Your secret weapon.
Well,
they want to be able to say yes to that. They have a high-end designer. I would say, I'm just going to make this up, 75% of designers are going to say no to a kitchen, because if they know their limits. But they want to make money and be in that business and not pass it off to someone else. They really need to have the confidence that they can say yes and do it right without ruining their reputation. So what I see is they bring Allison in, they learn from Allison in the back end, and they become experts in it. And
help them through the project. Yeah, figure out what's wrong.
Allison, tell us. Yeah, no, that makes sense. It does. What would you say is if there's such a thing, a profile student of yours?
Well, a profile would definitely be an independent designer. Although I have had clients who work for other people, but they're basically learning for themselves. So they would be an independent designer, either starting out in the business, expanding into the business, wanting to get more diverse and learn as they're working on a project. The best way to learn is to do. So they call me when it's like, I've got a project I'm working on and I can't figure it out. I need help and I'd love to learn along the way. Also, I teach a newer designer or an independent designer who's feeling stuck in their business, feeling I keep losing projects. I feel like I'm not making any money. I don't know what my processes are. I need to fine tune things. There's some designers that don't understand how to be compensated because they might work independently. So they're independent designers. They might be working for a kitchen design company as a 1099, or they could just be a designer who's gotten a retainer working on a project. So it's the majority of them are working on a project that they need help with, and they don't want it to go wrong.
Right. That's pretty
That's
cool.
so smart. I'll just say kudos to them for reaching out. I'm a big believer in, we only can become better by learning and continuing education. And continuing education doesn't always mean you got to go take a college class. It could be finding someone in your industry like Alison that can just walk beside you and get you to the point to where you weren't yesterday. And no matter where you are and what industry you're in, whether you're on your knees, you're setting tile, whether you're working in a showroom or you're a young designer, step out and do that. And if your company's not willing to do that for you, think about that and do it on your own. If you have to do it at night, because working on yourself and building that education and building that knowledge, that's how you go different places and how you succeed in life. So
it's an investment. It's an investment in themselves.
Absolutely.
And I promise that I am their advocate. I am their silent partner. I'm there to, they're paying me, but I'm not taking 50% of their money. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm not there to take away their design, their I'm helping them create their vision. And a lot of times the designers get intimidated because they don't have those fancy computer programs. Yeah. And I tell them, you don't need that program. You need a calculator, a T-square, a triangle, and a scale. That's what you need. Yeah. That's all you need, because everything is to scale. You work in half-inch scale. You do it by hand. Yep. It's not the end of the world. And then some designers go, oh, my sketch is not that good. I'm like, why? That you just did it right there. It tells me exactly what you want. It doesn't need to be Michelangelo. The customer understands that. Yep. So there's a lot of, we all have that imposter syndrome, and we're not good. And the designers are crazy not to reach out for help nowadays with the internet, the way it is. My business may have gone in a completely different direction had I had a mentor or somebody to help me or a place to reach out for a resource. I came from my own background. Nobody gave me my business. I didn't inherit it from my father. I'm not like the other guy up the block that inherited it from his dad, and the other guy where it's the mother, the father, the great uncle, it's I'm me. Like there was nobody else. So
I love it.
It was, it took a lot of chutzpah. I suppose, but I had been through some traumatic stuff, and it was like, I'm not gonna die. If I died tomorrow, I would so regret that I never did that. And that's not me.
I love it. It's just a bootstrap attitude. Just bootstrap it and go.
And it didn't work. And even though it didn't work, I have no regrets, because the wonderful people I've met, the lessons I've learned, the connections I've made, and just, it's like your path. If you would have taken a different path, I wouldn't be sitting here right now. I'd be a different person. So I'm okay with it.
And I'm assuming, Alison, that everyone's coming to you at you kind of meet people where they're at, kind of like Jesus. You're meeting them where they're at, right?
For their skill level, absolutely. Where they're coming from, what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. How much experience do they have? And, a lot of times give them confidence too. You've got a great idea. Let's establish that.
Let's
work on that. Or, sometimes they think like you might get stuck on the design on like just top and bottom, top and bottom, top and bottom. It's like, you know what? Let's be a little creative with that. Use your designer instinct. Get a little,
give them permission for that. Absolutely. That's good to have, because sometimes if you're not sure, you're way too conservative, and you design me something that I could have gotten at Home Depot. Well, tell me, Alison, what the biggest exclamation points you have in the tile part of that. I know that's not the biggest part of kitchen and bath.
She's very versatile.
No, that's huge.
I mean, I know it's huge, but it's not maybe not difficult when you're thinking about plumbing and electrical and all those things. But what are the things in the tile aspect of things that you find either interesting or something hard for a person to understand?
Well, for designers, I'll tell you what they don't understand is that one tile sample that they get, you have to see what's the V rating on that tile, right?
Yeah.
Is it varied 1, varied 2, varied 3? What's the color lock going to be like? So when they go, oh my God, the tile's not the same and it's all different tiles, it's like, because you didn't check that out. And that, if they took my course, they would know you need to check that out.
Yeah, we have a line.
To know what's the difference between porcelain and what's the difference between ceramic, and how can you tell? Right, John? I teach all these things because they're all
good at it.
Every component in the kitchen, everything, even the grout, the edging on the tile, okay, the edging on the tile, every little piece you need to know about.
All right, here's a hot topic for me.
What?
Would you suggest a natural stone in a shower?
You mean like marble, granite? Well,
marble, travertine, limestone.
Well, the key with I love natural stone, okay? But the shower natural stone is going to be much more difficult to maintain because of the chemicals you need to get the soap off. We're dealing with soap scum now. When they had these bathrooms made in the Roman times, made out of marble, they didn't have bars of soap and lather and hair conditioner and stuff like that. So this stuff, granite and all these things are a stone is a natural porous to some degree material.
It's a sponge.
So if you're willing to take the risk that it's going to take maintenance and it's going to be looking like maybe not so nice after a while, then get it.
You and I are on the exact same page. That's exactly what I say.
I really believe there's no such thing. And I talked about this today because we talked about countertops. There's no such thing as a perfect material. Nothing. There's not the perfect wood. There's no wood that's the best. There's no countertop material that's the best. They're all good enough or pretty good, but they're not perfect. Right. Perfection is nowhere on earth. Nowhere in mankind is there such a thing as perfection in anything. So
except John.
And us. The three of us.
Yeah, the three of us. Okay,
my grandchildren. Don't get me started. But for material, you know what I'm talking about? There's no such thing. I
agree.
It's there's the pros and the cons of everything.
All right, John, I'm just taking over this whole interview, so just sit back and listen. All right,
Craig and Alison.
Well, you guys are on the same. You guys are cut from a similar cloth in many ways, and I feel as I'm sitting here, Craig. I'm learning stuff just from this conversation, and we're not enrolled in her courses. I feel Alison would really benefit from stuff that you do, and maybe you can even share some stuff with her offline.
Oh yeah, if it's technical, this is my thing is knowledge is power. Power is confidence, and confidence is a brand that sells. Okay, confidence is going to sell. Because if you feel confident, if you could be totally wrong with what you're saying, but if you're confident about it, sometimes I feel maybe I'm a little too confident and I might say the wrong thing and everybody's like, really? And I'm like, ooh, you got to be careful what you say.
My wife tells me that all the time. She goes, just because you say it that way doesn't mean it's right.
Right. So technical, this is all technical stuff. This is not the fluff. This is technical stuff.
Yeah, that's kind of where I live day in and day out.
So you have to be I have to resume my What's New Wednesday. My husband has to take off on different days now because he's usually around on Wednesdays. It's, we have to spend together time.
Yeah, well, yes, absolutely. Well, I have another question about showers.
Oh, okay.
I'm looking at a vendor, and I'm not going to say who they are, but they've interested me because there's so many different shower pan providers. There's you can just pour your own pan, how John and I used to do it back in the day with mud, and then you can put your waterproofing. Either you have the Chloraloy pan. We talked about the lead pans that are older than Methuselah, and then now you have the new foam pans. But I found a system that is it's a base that's 100% tile ready, pre-made, and has the drain already ready to go. Does that how does that ring to you? Does that seem like a good idea?
Well, I thought that those pre-made, from the ones that I've heard of from the installer end of it, is that those pre-made bases, sometimes the tile doesn't stick, depending on the material.
Okay.
I mean, that's what I've heard. So to me, I would refer to the tile people and say, what do you find adhering it? Because that, if they're like a plastic material, how does that adhere to the glue? Is there an adhesion problem? Is there, and if it's, how rigid is it really? Because when you use tile, it has to be really, really sturdy.
Yeah.
I think that in the right application, those bases, before I did a tile-in ready-made base, I'd probably buy one that's already the style I need, and just have them build
pre-finished.
That's pre-finished, and just put it in there. If you're going to do that, then just get a regular base, or just build it out of the material. And this way you can make it whatever you want. You could have the lip as high as you want, high and low. You could do whatever you want. So, I mean, at that point, it would have to be, if it was more costly. Is that what's the cost?
I like the idea, and John, I know you got something to say. I remember it, but I like the idea that it's self-contained, that it's already pre-waterproofed, because I think of our customer base, which is very wide. We have all the way from the most experienced contractors to the most novice homeowner, and I think of some of those shower systems that I know from a prosumer up, they can be waterproof with no problem because they've got some skill. But when you have little to no skill, I see it as a solution that because let's be honest, water damages everything.
Well, that's the first thing you always hear them coming in. My shower leaked into the living room. My lead pan is leaking. The lead pan is leaking. How many times in Home Depot when I would years ago, decades ago.
John, what were you going to say about that?
So, well, what you're saying, strikes a chord, because if there's a product where, if it's a solid material that can be tiled, there's literally 99% chance it can't leak, right? Because it's just like is no. And Alison brought up a point where that would be the one thing that would concern me is it because it's this probably synthetic type of molded material. It probably, and I'm sure they've thought of it, that the tile needs to stick to it, but maybe this is where someone like Craig Cahoon needs to come in and say, let's make sure if you're putting tile onto this pan, let's step up the Latacrete thin set to be like the high performance. Is this, Craig, like a tile ready product?
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's a company tile ready that makes.
Yeah, and they've been in business 25 years, and I've seen them come on the market a little bit. They've started some influencer thing. I think they purchased another company. I don't know the history, but I have looked at them before. Actually, if John, if you remember when Josh was on with us designing his bathroom, he mentioned that, and I hadn't heard of it then, and just by some stroke of madness, somebody from there contacted me. So I don't know. It's very interesting.
I wonder if it says something on there if they recommend a particular product to use to adhere the tile, and then how it would go down.
I'm sure they have their partners. I know that there's a guy out west, and his YouTube channel is Tile Coach, and he has some great content, and I trust him. And he has done some tests recently over the last couple of weeks with the material. And I think he was using Latacrete 254, which, Latacrete 254, it'll stick to anything. And I know he doesn't use junk. So I don't know. I just figured, the shower is the question I get all the time, day in and day out. Can I use this in a shower? And I think about as we move forward, Tile Bar moves forward with creating the whole bath, the whole area. We're going to be picking up different products, and I want to make sure that we can put out products that will serve the purpose with good education, and that also makes sense for a wide variety of clients.
It's true. So Alison, Tile Bar, we started out as a glass tile company, kind of like Zappos of mosaic tile, and then morphed into porcelains, and then into retail stores, and now into A&D team like myself, that I'm calling on architects and designers, having products specified for all sorts of products, hospitality, etc. But we've now expanded our website. I don't know the stats. I hear them, but I don't retain them. Maybe Craig remembers, but the amount of hits and visits we have are incredible. We're now a platform.
I know we send out 25,000 samples a week just from our New Jersey warehouse, not to mention the material bank samples.
Well, it's become a designer's go-to.
Yeah,
designers
it really is
will go,
amazing.
Tile Bar has it. I hear that more than I hear other names.
Yeah, and we're really excited to be part of this, to be part of the whole Tile Bar. People say out of the box, we're breaking them. I mean, we're so far ahead. Alison,
us and Kamala Harris going through the glass ceiling.
I remember when they started, because I went to their warehouse or factory in Brooklyn.
That's right.
I wanted to see, when they used to give you the little shot glasses and the.
Yeah, exactly. So it's funny, Alison. So when Tile Bar started, it was called Soho Studio, and the Fiorano showrooms that of, we had 4 showrooms: Elmont, Williston Park, Belmore, and Manhasset. We were their first dealer, not number one, but in the first phase of dealers. Mm-hmm. So we were selling their products under the Soho brand, and then it morphed into showroom in the city, and then it involved, I was kind of the first wave of the A&D outside team. Now our external sales, as we call it now, has morphed from, I don't know, we're on a sales call for external, and we have like internal and external that work on outside projects. There's over 100 people on those team meetings.
It's amazing where they've come from.
Yeah, oh my God, it's crazy.
I remember when they had the A&D show years.
Yeah, Architectural Digest show that.
It was just like a little tiny booth. Jason was there maybe, but there was one little thing. And then now you go, they have a beautiful booth, and they don't have that show anymore. But when they do show anything, it's
they are
showing up.
That show was a victim of COVID and never came back. Craig, tell Alison some of the things on our website that she may not even be aware of that we sell now in the kitchen, in the bath world.
Yeah, I mean, we've got thresholds, we've got shower doors, we've got vanities, we've got mirrors, we've got shower shelves. All those things are coming, and
so you've got a plethora of
a plethora. Our goal, and is for you to be able to design your bathroom with Alison Solar and order everything you need from our website. Shipped directly to your house.
Gotcha.
We want to control the world.
I see. I just going to say that. I wasn't going to say anything.
It's interesting, Alison. We have around 6,000 products in stock. 6,000 and deep in inventory. Like, we'll bring in tile, and like a container is like one size of one color. Our new warehouse is our South Jersey warehouse is like 300,000 feet. We have a new warehouse we're in the middle of, 500,000 square feet. It's like 32 feet high.
Wow. And
pallet positions, Alison, how many spots there are for a pallet? There's about 28,000 pallet positions plus.
Small place, small. Very
small,
John.
It's just crazy.
Tiny little place.
It's just amazing. So we're at the point where we're stocking so much material, but a lot of manufacturers now come to us and see the powerhouse that we are. And we have the best A&D team in the country, boots on the ground. But
Agreed.
What happens is a manufacturer says, hey, we know you're stocking 12 of our lines. How about line number 13? And we're just like, no, right now we can't. And then they'll be, well, you know what? Instead of you importing it, how about we stock it in the States and you just put it on your website, and then when you're ready to order it, you just get it from our warehouse. So now we have a whole nother level of offerings that we're not stocking. But you know, when you order something from Amazon, you don't know what warehouse it's coming from. It's coming from anywhere, right? It doesn't matter.
Right.
So it's just another opportunity for us to tile the world with products.
Absolutely.
and so it's
really
really amazing. We're really excited
amazing
about
to see
this.
the growth. Yeah, it's fabulous.
And
Yeah.
I'll and that we're not tooting our own horn, but I will say that with all the growth, I think we've done a good job of trying to service the client, because the client is the issue, is the thing. Even though we can inundate them with choices, we want them to have what they want. We want them to, when they design their kitchen and their bath and they want this color, this style, we want to be able to serve them by offering that. And if we can't, I think our team is pretty competent enough to say, hey, we just don't have that, but we don't want the design to suffer. We want to work in partnership with the designers.
It's true. Our secret weapon has been our people and our CEO. The CEO is fearless, and very humble. And I say fearless, not in a reckless way, but he's like, I have an idea, and let's not wait to perfect it. Let's figure it out. You know, let's do it. And it's really been amazing. And we're so happy that you came to the Tile Happy Hour. You know, this has come full circle, being one of my original guests on the John to Disco Happy Hour. It seems like ages ago, and me being on your show and being in one of your classes and seeing you at all the industry events and KBDA and IDS and all that good stuff.
Yes, but John's always been very supportive of me, John. Very, we as the industry cohorts, we've all been, really cheering for each other, which is really nice thing to see and have it within the design industry.
Yeah, it's true. Mm-hmm. So if you're a designer out there that is just starting, or you're a seasoned designer, but deep in your heart, you may not tell anybody, that you really need to know more about kitchens and bath design, the clearances and the variances and all the other instances you need to know about. You need to get in touch with Alison with one L, AlisonSolar.com. She has a plan for you to be your guide, your mentor, your teacher, and she's a hell of a lot of fun too. So you have a few laughs in the process, and hopefully make some money and support your family and be professional. I feel like if you're going to do something, do it right. Learn from somebody that knows those programs. Learn from somebody that's dealt with orders with factories, who probably in the beginning, Alison, I'm sure you ordered something wrong and wow, I learned the hard way. I didn't check that measurement, when you first started out. Those are life lessons. So let people hire you, and they don't have to make those errors. They don't have to be as painful. They can kind of soften that learning curve a little.
Yes. Do not order the wrong kitchen color.
And exactly. we always talk about growing and being the better part of yourself. And part of that is not always surrounding yourself and being the smartest person in the room. You need to have people smarter than you that you deal with on a day in and day out basis. And Alison, I appreciate the conversation, because now I know when I'm with you and John, you're the smartest person in the room. And so
I about kitchens and bathrooms.
I appreciate that lift up, and I appreciate your time tonight. It's great fun. If I can ever provide anything tile and stone installation wise, please reach out to me. I've got tons of stuff online, but I will make something especially for you. I love doing it.
Yeah, well, I have my Facebook group with the kitchen bathroom designers group, and I share information there all the time, products, and I do little webinars and things like that to share educational information with my homies, my group, my pack, my people.
That's great.
Kitchen and bath people.
That's
well,
good.
Awesome.
Well, Alison is.
Go ahead, John.
I was going to say that Alison is just it's what your service you're providing is phenomenal. And I really hope that people see this, maybe who haven't heard of you, or some people that have been on the fence and not sure what to do, because this doesn't exist anywhere, really. This is a really unique opportunity if you happen to be in the region. Do you work remotely also, or just for people in New York?
All over, anywhere, because it's all done through Zoom. And then I record everything, and then they get a copy of it, and but they give me their stuff ahead of time. So I look at it, I review it, they give me their questions, and we focus on whatever they want to talk about in the session, work it out, whatever we're working on. And, I give them direction where to go, what to do, and how to solve the problem, and, present it, whatever it is they're struggling with, and we figure it out. So it's kind of like a working in progress. And then we work on it, meet over and over, or meet a few times to, stuff like that.
That's fantastic.
Great. Well, if you need to find Alison, you find her at her website. It's on there on the screen, AlisonSolar.com. Alison, thanks again for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you later. John, once again, we're out of time, and I appreciate you introducing me to Alison and us having that conversation. I felt like I talked more than she did, so I apologize if I did. I just had a lot of questions.
Yeah, no, it was really great. She's always a good conversation. She knows what she's doing. I just respect people that know their stuff. It could be about paper clips. If you're the paperclip expert in New York,
business. Well, there's
we'll have a beer, and I want to know how they bend it. I want to know how many ridges are appropriate to keep the paper, from slipping. I just kind of like the roadshow, right? When they have the antique roadshow. Like, I'm not into antiques, but I if it comes across my screen, I
love the information.
I just like seeing somebody like, oh, I know where that was from, the Ming Dynasty, and couldn't be from there. It was from there. And I just love experts. I respect experts. I feel I'm an expert in tile and stone, and as my Instagram handle says, expert on tile and stone, novice on everything else in life. So it's what I happen to know. It's what I do. Alison's great at kitchen and bath and tile. She definitely has an affinity to tile. So that's one of the reasons we get along. And Craig, obviously your knowledge, from installation, from technical details, all that stuff is really commendable. And I'm glad that you're helping the world, understand about products for a better industry, for better installs, and make all our lives a little happier with tile. That's what
and if you want more help, then you need to be at Coverings next week. John is wearing the T-shirt in honor of that, because at Coverings, we're going to be there. That's not the highlight. I mean, it is for most people, but there are also classes. There's tons of information to learn. It's all free, and we hope you can come watch the podcast with us next Tuesday, 12 p.m., in the concourse at the podcast studio. John and I will be there live in person. You can sit and watch us have a conversation about the internet, AI, influencers, all that stuff that maybe doesn't seem to fit in the tile and stone industry, but we're going to shoehorn it in.
That's true. Well, Craig, I'll let you bring it home. I just want to tell everyone, yes, next week, Coverings. Hopefully we'll see you there. If we don't see you there, you'll see us live. Coverings show, founded in 1990. So the show's been going strong, and we're really honored and excited to be there. And we'd love to see you guys there. So this is Gian Tedisco, and I'd like to wish everybody peace, health, and happiness.
And thanks again, Alison, for joining us. I look forward to another conversation. Let's keep learning together and tile the world.